Hi Ray, how are you? It's good to see you.
Hi, so good to see you, Hugo.
I invited you today because I wanted to celebrate your work and also talk about all the different projects you've been working on lately. Would you be able to start with your name and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Rhea Rebbe, and I'm a set designer and an art director.
And you're currently on Lincoln Lawyer, so congrats on that. And I would
Yes.
love for you to take us on a day one from day five. What's it like for you on that show?
Oh, yes. So I'm the set designer on the Lincoln Lawyer, and the set designer communicates all the plans to every department. So I'm in charge of, um, let's see. So starting from the beginning, I work directly with the production designer and the art directors and construction. We talk about all the design ideas, the research, what's important either to the budget or to the story, if there's any limitations. And then we could be designing or drawing any or building any type of set. So we could be building a living room, a school, a cave, a spaceship, a courtroom, mostly on the Lincoln Lawyer. And then once we get all that figured out, and I get you know, the research and the design from the production designer, then I start working on the construction drawings, which is basically drafting to communicate to construction what they're going to be building. And I mean, very specifically, what they will be building. Like the art department and I figure out all the details so that once we hand that over to construction, all these very talented people can just run with it and start building. Um, I also work on, I survey the stages so we know the size of the space we have to work with. And then once we get going further down the line, I survey locations because we shoot in the real world a lot. So I actually go to all the places we shoot and measure, like we measure, a bodega, we measure a actual hallway. We measure, like I'm measuring like real world places and then making maps of them for the crew so that they can plan accordingly ahead of time. Um, I also work on spotting plans. That's a type of construction drawing where I take the drawing of the stage and then we put all the sets and organize all the sets onto the spotting plan. And in that situation, we have to consider how each department, how much space they need. We need enough room for camera, enough room for lighting. We need room for people to move around. We have to consider safety. There's safety exits all the way around the sets at all times. Um, I also do detail drawings. It's a lot of drawings, a lot of communication. It's the core of the job. So the detail drawings is like I make floor plans so I can communicate to the flooring department exactly the design we want and measure it all out for them. Same thing for the ceilings, ceiling plans, furniture plans for set dressing so they know how much space they have. And I actually sometimes work with the decorators or the buyers and they find something in the real world and I show them whether or not it'll fit before they rent it. Um, we do paint layouts, we do graphic layouts, and that's all the set design aspect. And then there's also the model making aspect. So in the union, we're called set designer model makers. So the model making aspect is it can be done in a various different ways, but basically these are models for their presentational models, usually to get approval either from the writers or producers or just the budget. And that can be a digital 3D model. And we can make like a fly through of the space, which is really fun. And then also it can be a physical model, which is made out of foam core or some other, like you think miniature, and we make it a real life thing and then people can hold it up and look in and move things around and really discuss how they're going to shoot it, the movement of the actors and all that stuff. So yeah, that's in a nutshell, set designer model maker.
What would you say is the main difference from working on a stage to working out in the real world?
Oh, wow. So I think the main difference is that when you're on a stage, you have complete control. You have so much control of the environment. You can build your set and your walls and your ceilings so that they can remove and come back so that you can either pull the camera in or, a department needs to work during the day, they can move a set wall away and then bring it back. In a location, however, you have to work with that location and you have to work within the parameters. Like, let's say we rent a house, like Mickey's house in the Lincoln Lawyer. It's this gorgeous, beautiful house on a hill that overlooks LA. That homeowner has a set of rules of what we can and can't do. And then obviously, we can't remove the walls. So we can't like bring in lights from above the ceiling, pull a ceiling piece out like on the stage and put in some lights. Like you have to work within the parameters without damaging the house also, so it's a whole different animal, especially for construction, the shooting crew, when you're on location, because you can't customize everything and just remove things. Yeah. Oh, and then from my perspective, from the set designer perspective, the biggest difference is I always have access to the stage, except if they're shooting. But a location, I only have access to that location for the times that are approved or allotted. So like you have to be so on top of your game to get all the information you need in the 2 hours window that they gave you, because we're not going to have that access to the location again until they're shooting. So it's like locations are a little more high pressure because you have less access.
Yeah, exactly. And especially for like last minute tweaks and stuff like that. But I was really interested in talking about the 3D modeling because I've noticed that that's been a key part, especially for producers and writers or the creative side, to be able to see what is about to get built before it gets built. And that way they
Yeah.
can do any tweaks along the way and you guys can modify to the story.
100%. Yeah, especially the 3D models, which are so easy, not easy, but um, it's a really beautiful representation and it can be in full color. It can be like the technology now is so advanced that the producers can now feel absolutely confident of exactly what they're going to get because we can genuinely show it to them. And if they have changes, we can do all of that in the computer ahead of time before any money is spent, and it really saves everybody a lot of grief and aggravation and stress.
What would you say is some one of the tools that you really need to be a great set designer?
Yeah, so I would say that you need to be an excellent visual and verbal communicator. Like that's the entire job. I have to be able to disseminate tons of information verbally and communicate that I understand what they want because my time spent, of course, spends money. Like I'm taking the time to do something. So I need to be able to verbally communicate exactly what they want. But then also the visual communication is the whole point of the job, which is communicating to every department in a very clear and clean way what the plan is, what we're moving forward doing, and also so that it doesn't slow any other department down. The construction drawings need to be clean and easy to read so that they can just go, 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 go and build on schedule. I would say you also have to have technical drafting skills and surveying skills, like I mentioned on location. You have to remember all the things you need, all the information you need to collect in an accurate way. And then the technical drafting, you can learn over time, but like it's a very specific set design drafting. It's different from architecture. It's similar, but like there are a set of rules that TV and film use because of the way we build our sets. Um, I think you need to know what other department needs and also why, so that you can take that into account while you're designing. It also affects the budget and et cetera. I think you need to be really good at prioritizing and planning because I'm constantly managing tons of information. Like we're building, sometimes on the Lincoln Lawyer, we have like, 5 sets and 15 locations in process at the same time. And you have to be able to like disseminate all that information, keep track of all that information, and also prioritize what needs to happen first. You got to be a really good collaborator because there's so many different people you're working with. Um, Working under pressure, there's deadlines, or you're surveying during a scout. So, like, every department is in the same location at the same time. and you have to somehow get all your information you need in a half an hour before they kick you out, and that's challenging. Um, let's see what else. Multitasking, considering like the big picture stuff, as well as focusing on nitty gritty details. Like I tell people I manage like every quarter inch of the stage. We get really down to the nitty gritty. And then like a really high attention to detail. Those games in like notebooks where they like have you look at two different pictures that are the same, but you notice 10 different differences. That's almost my entire job is like noticing what's different because someone will give you notes or if it's built differently, like you're the one that knows the set the most because you spent so much time drawing it. Like it's on me to notice what changed or what's different and bring it up to somebody or if it's a problem or correct the drawing, stuff like that. Yeah, and then all of this, of course, is communicating the character or the story through our environments. So, like, keeping all of that in mind while you're drafting. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I did want to tap into your art department, who you collaborate the most with. Are you able to tell us what it's like when you guys receive it, like the script? How does it become from the script all the way to a set in the stage?
Yeah, sure. So I work mostly with the production designer, Andrew Leach, and the art director, Rachel Scott. And when we receive the scripts, um, they do a different breakdown than I do. I mostly just need to know what the sets are so I know what's coming. But they'll do it in way more detail. They'll break down what the story points are, how many doors and entrances and exits they need. They'll break down what the action is. They'll break down if there's any like call outs for something specific, like a prop or a gag or something specific to the character, like if the character loves, I don't know, elephants, you know what I mean? Like they're tracking all of that, like more character detail. And then Andrew will figure out a design, like he'll come up with a basic floor plan, and then he'll start sending that to me, and then I'll start drawing it up, and then we'll go back and forth with a bunch of revisions of like tweaking here and there. He'll show it to the producers. They'll give him notes. Then it'll come back to me. And then we'll start drawing all the elevations. So we draw every single wall. So then, I mean, I say it like it's obvious. It's not obvious, which is why I'm spelling it all out. But we draw every single wall, every single ceiling, every single floor so that all the departments know what's coming and then they can plan accordingly. But yeah, it's a lot of back and forth and revisions. And then, Rachel will do the last look over and then they'll approve it. I'll stamp it as released. And then it gets printed by our wonderful art department and sent out to every single department. And then the revisions begin. If there's any changes, then we start that process again and we do it all again. Yeah.
How do you, as a team, handle last minute changes from the creative side?
Oh, I mean, I think that's actually a really good piece of advice. Your question is that you have, especially for the set designer, don't get attached to anything. And also, any revision or change is not personal. None of it's personal. If something changes, doesn't matter. Moving forward, what do we need? And you just proceed forward. I think when I first started out, I thought I did something wrong or like I took it personally for some reason, but it's just the creative process. It could be a request or a need from any department. There's no point in figuring out why. You just make your changes and send it back out and wait for the next change. Like it's not it can be frustrating. It can add a lot of time or work, but it's not it's just part of the process. It's part of the creative process. It will always be evolving and changing. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're there to serve the project and also to
exactly.
make things go smoother and collaborate with everybody, like you said.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the proudest episodes or sets that you guys have built on this show after so many seasons?
Yeah. I think for me, so the downtown LA courthouse, which we built in season one with our first team. So we've had two teams on the Lincoln Lawyers. So the first team was led by production designer Jessica Kender, and we built. I think I love that set so much. It's just this beautiful, really dramatic, crazy high ceilings, really dramatic. The ceiling itself is dramatic. The finishes are beautiful. The judges' bench is really elaborate. It's just like a really beautiful, gorgeous, dramatic set. And we've been using it all 4 seasons, so that's been really fun. They also did like the hallways are based on the real life location, and the first season team did a really great job surveying the real location because I've had people ask me, how do you film there? And I'm like, oh no, it's a recreation. But yeah, we did some beautiful like graphics, did gorgeous tile work in the hallways, and the finishes by the painters are gorgeous. I love that set so much. And then for the new group, when Andrew Leach took over season 2, um, we had to change over the permanent set of Jerry's office, which is the person who passed away in the show. And then our new character, Mickey Haller, took over his office, and he did like this big renovation to the space. And it's just such a beautiful representation of, um, like, it's just really cool to see the same space look so dramatically different. And I thought Andrew's choices in what would fit this Mickey character and how he would make his space was just really beautiful. And it was really such a dramatic difference. I love a dramatic difference. And then coming up for season 4, which hasn't aired yet, I love our new permanent set. I just think it's very real looking. And then we've actually had some really cool locations too. Uh, we got to film in a real jail in season 4, so that was really cool going to a real life jail. And then most of all, like this whole show is a love letter to Los Angeles. Like we're filming in real locations. We're not changing the graphics. We're not changing the space. We're using the locations as people who live here know them. So, we've got Cole's French dip sandwiches downtown, or driving down PCH, or beautiful houses in Malibu. Like it's just, and actually last season we filmed in over 30 locations in LA, like over 30 cities in LA. Like we're really covering the gamut. It's amazing. Yeah. And I'm from LA, so like I love it extra.
Would you be able to talk about any of the challenges that you guys have faced and how did you guys overcome that? For example, like when you guys work on real locations and you don't have access to changing things.
Oh, sure. Let's see. Well, sometimes they ask us to build it, which is a big endeavor. I mean, if we have the budget for it, or that set is that, or that location is that important. So sometimes we were going to lose a location, so then I go there to survey it so that we can literally rebuild it. I mean, that happens sometimes. Last season, unfortunately, we were filming during the LA fires, and we lost a couple locations to the fires. And then, I mean, the adjustment is like kind of the show must go on a little bit, and they find new locations, and then you scramble to redo all your prep work and go to the new location, that sort of thing. Um, what are other things? Yeah, just having a really strong locations department, because there's a whole team that works with the owners of the locations. So as long as we communicate really well with what we need or what challenges we're facing, then they're like basically the agent to negotiate with the location, the owner, and then we come to an agreement. It's a whole nother collaboration with the owner of the location. Yeah, it's like again, lots of collaboration, lots of communication.
I would love to compare your work on Lincoln Lawyer to the feature work that you did on Unfrosted, which you guys won an Art Directors Guild Award. Would you be able to compare the both experiences?
Yeah, let's see. I think the biggest difference I felt in the experience, so I had done a ton of multi-camera work, and then I moved into single camera work before I did the unfrosted. And the biggest difference I noticed right away was the time. Um, Features, and I don't fully understand it yet, but I'm sure that's just how they are. But they have so much more prep time. So they had a lot more time to design, a lot more time to plan. They had we had super talented illustrators, so they literally made beautiful presentations of everything we were going to do before we even began. Like it was incredible how much prep time and how much detailed work we could do before beginning. I think with each what are they called? With each format, it's a different set of parameters, time, budget, etc. So with single cam, you have more time than multicam, and then with features, you have more time than single cam. So it's just like that for me personally. That's what I felt the most. Location wise, it was all. I mostly focused on the sets for Unfrosted. Um, we had more stages than I was used to. Like that was really fun. We built a lot more. Um, and we had a much bigger team, a much bigger art department, which was fantastic. Um, Location wise, again, I didn't do as many of the locations, but I feel like it probably was somewhat similar, except probably more time and more prep work. Yeah. Yeah.
What did you personally have to prepare on Unfrosted? What was your favorite part from that project?
Oh, interesting. I think it was the research because it was a period film, and I was given all this research at the beginning before I began, and we did like the Russian, I think he was the president, Khushchev's office, and like they had found all this like accurate, beautiful research from the time, and we recreated it. And then also tons and tons of research on these like cereal companies, which I know sounds funny, but like that's what the project was. It was about cereal companies having a little feud with each other. And it was really cool to see. I mean, this isn't necessarily my part, but like it was cool to see all the graphics and all the like historical stuff um and all that jazz. Oh, I will say the one part I did really enjoy is I had to draw a UNIVAC machine, which for those who don't know, it's like the OG computer and it's like the size of a desk. And I got to work with all this amazing research and then rebuild it, just they're like, here, draw this. And I had to like we measured a desk and we recreated a UNIVAC machine and that was really satisfying for some reason. Sometimes I'm drawing props and that sort of thing. It's fun. Yeah.
Well, you've also mentioned multi-camera work, and how
Mhm.
would you compare those big projects to a multicam show?
Yeah, I think they're really different. And they're also the same. So I think multi-camera, and that's like where I started, and I spent like 8 years or 9 years. I would love to do it again. It's not like I've left it, but I did like 8 years multi-cam at first, and it's a family. Like the crew is so much smaller, so you get to know everyone so much more, and you have your hand in everything. Like I was involved very directly with every department in my position. And that's where I did a lot of my learning. Like I learned so much from the lighting department, um, from the ADs, from like every department I was talking to daily. And then once you get into bigger projects like single cam, you're dealing with, a crew of 200 people. And you, like right now, and at the moment, I work from home. So I mostly work only with my art department, which is maybe 10 people. And then I talk with construction, but only a few of them, and I see them at scouts. So, like, I don't interact with as many people when I work from home, but the crew is so much bigger. And because the scope is so much bigger, you work with few, like, you get narrowed in on your focus. And then, same thing with when you level up again to movies. Um, Even the arts department was so big, I was mostly only talking to a couple of people in the arts department because there's just so much volume that your focus gets much more narrowed, if you will. Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, I come from multi-camera, and
Mhm.
I told you off camera how small our team is compared to teams on episodics and features, and it does make us create this shorthand of what everybody's taste or specifically our production designer what she likes from us to make her job easier. But yeah, we definitely get to know each other a lot more, especially when there's only about three of us compared to a whole
Yeah,
other. Yeah. But
absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And like to give numbers, it's like multicam's like three people, and then let's see, I think I have eight people at Lincoln Lawyer, but then Unfrosted it was probably like I don't know, 15 or you know what I mean? It almost doubles each time. It's yeah, it's it's incredible to see the scope go up. It's both fun. It depends on what you're after, because like if you want to be in the middle of everything, then multicam is so great because you are in the middle of everything. But as the scale gets bigger, you get more specific in the things you're in charge of, and you have less hands and everything else, you know.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
also love how it's multicam is just so fast paced, and
Hmm.
we're shooting an episode, from Monday through Friday, and our prep work is actually much shorter than the episodics too. So yeah, it's definitely a lot more quicker than the other types of projects.
Totally, absolutely. Yeah, I think we usually have like 12-day. We do block shooting for Lincoln Lawyers, so I think we do 2 episodes every 12 days. But you're prepping just as long as you're shooting, sort of a thing. So, um, yeah, it's a lot. You're multitasking. I guess in that way it's a little similar. But yeah, you're right. It's fast paced, but like the scope is bigger and the expectations are sometimes bigger. Although I have found that multi-camera has like their expectations have gotten much higher over the years too.
Yeah, lately we've been working on what we call hybrids, where it's a little bit of episodic, but also
Oh,
multicam. It's shot like a multicam, but we definitely go shoot in the back lot a lot, and yeah, it definitely brings in both worlds and makes the scope a lot larger.
yeah, absolutely. I know it's an ever evolving medium.
Well, I would love to actually find out what made you want to work in entertainment.
I come from a fine arts background, so I did painting and drawing in college. And after I graduated, like I said, I'm from here, but I had never considered the entertainment industry for some reason. And I read this book called "What Color Is Your Parachute?" And anyone who knows me, I am sure I've brought this book up to you. Um, but it really narrows down both how to find a job, but also more importantly help you figure out your dream job. And in doing all the exercises in the book, I realized, my priorities were doing something creative, make good money, have health insurance and a pension, honestly, because, I wanted to also travel. I wanted just like a specific type of life. And I narrowed down to my original idea was to do theme park design because I love the idea of creating environments. And then when I started like talking to people who do that, they were like, well, you have no experience, and there's only like 5 of those jobs in the world. So why don't you go do the entertainment industry? And there's a million of those jobs, and then cross over later, sort of thing. Because it's still environment building. And that's the original, and the things that originally got me hooked on environment design was the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland and the movie Hook. I love like a theme, and I love like the design of a space and bringing someone into a world. So that was the original catalyst to pursuing entertainment. And then once I got into the world, I was like, you know what? I love the pace of entertainment industry. I love the social. I love the collaboration. I like that everything's new. I like that you're always moving on different teams. Like I really love it so much, which is why I've never moved back to the theme park idea. Sorry.
Yeah, I've definitely enjoyed that part of the job of being able to go from one project to another. And it's like
Mhm.
one takes place in New York and then the other one takes place in LA and similar to that. And to be able to, like you said, like start to research different areas that you've never been before. And through this project, you get to learn a lot of that and recreate it in real life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How did you get on this career path, and did you have any mentors early on?
Sure. So I really followed the book, What Colors Your Parachutes, like advice. And I started informationally interviewing anyone I could get to agree to do it. My mom worked at my elementary school, and there were a lot of entertainment industry parents there. So she started asking all of them if like who would be interested in talking to me. And I met with producers, I met with writers, and then it was Dougal Sturmer, he was at the time the construction he was in the construction department at the show 24, and he gave me a set tour, and he took my resume, and then he just kept pushing it to the top of the pile, and he eventually got me a couple days as a PA. And then I the second time I got a couple days as a PA, I walked over to the art department and introduced myself again, as the book recommended. And I said, "Oh, I'd really love to be in the art department." And Glenn Career, who was working in the set, he was the lead man for Set Deck. He was like, "Oh, we're actually looking for a PA." And that's how I got my first job. So it was really amazing to like just follow the steps in the book and it actually work out. And it takes a lot of effort and time. Like it wasn't I started on Monday, I got a job on Friday, but it was, and then I learned something from all those different people that I informationally interviewed. And then as I continued in as a PA, I kept doing the process. Like I talked to every single person I could come across and I picked their brain, like you're doing, literally, essentially. And I asked them about their jobs. I asked them what they like about their jobs, what they do differently, what they recommend. And in all that information, I just kept narrowing my focus of what I like, what if I saw myself doing what they're describing, and just kept narrowing my focus of what I wanted to do. Because they also say, like, the more specific you are about what you want, the more likely you are to get it. And then once I decided on the art department, I just started taking as many technical classes as I could. My first class was at Pierce College, which is a community college. And then I started taking classes at Studio Arts, and I was taking a whole bunch of stuff. I was taking drafting, Photoshop, Illustrator, and there were a few different drafting programs. I was trying to like try different things. And all of these recommendations were also from the people I had talked to about like what programs do I need and what skills do I need. And then I just practice. I like drew my house. I drew my parents' house. I volunteered to make graphics for a Halloween party. You know what I mean? Like I just did anything to practice. And then I even copied other people's drafting. Like I would take their finished plans and I draw them, and I was learning along the way because I was copying what they were doing. And I guess for mentors, my dad always told me to be a student for life. And he also told me that statistically, we change our career 4 times in our lives. So just jump in and try something. And that was so freeing for me. And it really helped free things up. And then, like I said, when I was a PA, Dougal was the first person who got me in the door. And then Glenn Career, our lead man, he really nurtured me during that time when I was a PA and like taught me about the art department, taught me about set deck, all that stuff. And then after that job, I went on to be a scenery coordinator. And it's such like a beautiful gift that I didn't know was happening at the time. I was only doing it for a year. But I learned how scenery was stored and moved and why, and which pieces of scenery were valuable. And Sandra Garcia at Beachwood Services taught me everything. And then Mike Mancia, who was the grip in the warehouse, he taught me so much about being a grip and moving scenery and how it goes together and all that, which obviously comes into play when you're a set designer. And then after that, multi-camera. You and I have both worked with a few of the same people. So Jerry Dunn taught me so much. He was the one I first worked for at a union level. He got me an assistant art director. And then Greg Richmond and Glenda Ravello, who you also work with. And let's see. The multi-camera format, like I kind of said before, is such a beautiful mentor in its own because it's so small and because you learn so much about every department every single day. And I really think multi-camera is like a beautiful gem and such a great mentor in its own. And then once I moved to single camera, Jessica Kender and Andrew Leach are the people I've worked with the most. Um, and they've really shown me the ways of single cam because it is slightly different. There's ceilings all of a sudden. With multi-camera, there's an audience and there's only three walls, there's no ceiling, and it's a different approach, a different set of needs. And then single camera with locations, and now there's ceilings, and like the camera can be anywhere. You don't necessarily know where it's going to be. Like there's a lot of new parameters I had to learn. And then really, I want to also acknowledge all the mentors in all the departments. Like I learned so much from construction, grips, lighting, paint, like all of them. Like there's nobody you can't learn from. I really was a total sponge and still am my whole career. It's a career where you have to learn from other people because we're always constantly evolving. Hmm. That was a long-winded answer. Sorry.
No, you're right. And I mean, this is all an extension of how I got started because same like you, I would always, whoever was interested in talking to me about what they do, I was sponging all that until I figured out that I wanted to be in the art department. And even with that, I mean, I knew there wasn't a position available, but I kept
Mhm.
updating them that I'm learning this, I'm doing this, I'm freelancing here until eventually, I got tapped on the shoulder on like, hey, didn't you want to work in the art department? Like, yeah. So that was kind of where it all got started for me. But
Yeah.
like you said, along the lines, I had to put myself out there constantly. A lot of no's, a lot of people that
Mhm.
were not interested in sharing what they do, but there were a lot more people who were eager to share their journey and also, take me like you got your tours. I would definitely jump
Mhm.
around Warner Brothers to different stages to find out what was filming in there and kind of and like that build my network.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it honestly, the things you were doing sounds like you read the book too. It's like so important. And it's also like it keeps the joy and the excitement alive because, even going to seeing other people's sets and other people's productions, it's exciting to see what everyone's doing. It's such a creative, fun atmosphere. Hmm.
Well, for young people that are interested in getting started, what would you say is the best way to network and also meet the right people to get them started?
Interesting. That's a really good question. I would say things people don't always remember is to be authentic. So, like, I would say, like, if you like people, stay in contact with them and give yourself like a timeline of how often you're going to stay in touch. Like, if you really like working with someone, then foster that relationship and really, invest in it. Um, Pretending you like someone, people can see through that really quickly, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So, like, if you don't like someone or they're not a good vibe, just focus on the relationships that you are really strong and that you really like and you want to work with again. Um, I would also say put yourself out there. Some people will ignore you or not have time or are not interested in mentoring or, and that's okay. And you want to put yourself in the shoes of the person who is hiring, and what are they looking for in a person? So you want to think about like, oh, that person has good follow through. That person does what they say they're going to do. If they said they're going to contact me on Tuesday, they contacted me on Tuesday. You know, um, this person needs someone who can draft. So then practice, 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 and then follow up with them 6 months later and show them all the drafting you've done. You know what I mean? Like, think about what they need and then find the skills or develop those areas. And then, as you did, follow up with them and show them your progress and show them you're still interested in what they're doing. You're putting in the effort to develop your career because I think that speaks for itself in like really great ways. Yeah.
Well, lastly, what advice would you give your younger self?
I know. It's such an interesting question. I actually think that because of the book and because I was so intentional in the first place, I would actually do a lot of the stuff I did over again. Like I think a lot of things I did at the beginning by following the book, it really helped me and it also makes me have less regret because I was so intentional in the first place. But I think some things I didn't do is I think I would tell myself to have so much fun, like to remind myself why you love the job. Take photos in the sets that you built. Take photos with the teams you worked with in the sets. Like the photos I have with the teams in the set are some of like I just love looking back at those and it's a really strong memories. Like we make such creative environments. It's cool to really appreciate them and have memories of them. um, really live in the moment and then also attend the cool things that are happening on the production. Like there was an explosion that they were doing on 24 when I was a PA, and someone invited me to go downtown and watch the explosion. And I don't remember the reason, but I didn't go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I go? That would have been cool to witness in person. And I could still see it on the show, but it would have been cool to see. And I think I would tell myself I should have made friends with construction faster. As a set designer or art department person, like all the construction, it doesn't matter their position. They're so talented. They're so knowledgeable. A lot of them are so much older than, especially at the time. I was like 26. All of them were 40 years older than me or something. Well, that's 40 years of amazing knowledge. And I know I'm a better set designer now because of that information. Um, let's see. Things I did do that I would still recommend people to do is listen to your intuition about what positions are calling to you and do the things you want to do versus listening to the influence of others. Because in the end, everyone's going to have a different path, and there's a million different paths in this career, and our careers are always changing. So really pick the projects you want to do for your own reasons. Um, it's a really social job, so you really want to prioritize and nurture your relationships with people you love working with. Um, and the people who get hired the most are the people who are wonderful and easy to work with, independent of their skills sometimes. So I think people undersell that. You spend 12 hours a day with these people, they want to enjoy being around you. Um, Learn from others, but also pay it forward. I would say if you do go union, get involved with the union right away. Um, Learn the business side of being a freelancer. Like this was something I could have done sooner. Like become knowledgeable in your rates, your health and pension benefits, how to negotiate, how to do your taxes, how and when to file for unemployment. Like all the like business side of things is really important and able in order to survive as a freelancer. And you have to be prepared for short or long periods of being unemployed. Like that's just part of the gig. Luckily, I learned that early because the 2007 strike happened right when I moved out of being a PA. And I just learned that really fast. Like, oh, I have to be prepared for this because it will come up again and again in this industry. Um, let's see. I would also say dream big and go after what you want. Like sometimes people limit or make their dreams a little more reasonable or achievable, but go for the big stuff. Like if you want to win an Oscar, then own it and then strategize on how to do that. It's you can't always make something happen, but at least go for it. And then I think also just be really clear and check in with yourself about what your priorities are at the moment. Like some people want the Oscar, some people want health insurance, some people want to go home to their kids, some people want to work on a project with a specific director. Like all of these reasons are different motivations. So just get really clear with what your motivations are and then make decisions around that. I'm trying to be really specific because I know as a young person, you want like a really meaty interview. Yeah. And the last thought is, this career is a really exciting creative journey. And to be adaptable, continue to learn and grow and really enjoy it. And you're not going to get one job and that's it forever. Like you're going to ebb and flow and try different field or different positions. You're going to try different formats. You're going to some people might switch over to theme park at some point. Some people might, like who knows what's going to happen. I think deciding to be adaptable when you're young will serve you greatly moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up because, for example, with the type of work we do, it's not a guarantee that you're even going to be with the same team on your next project.
Ever.
And that next project is coming up right like after the one you just completed. So
Exactly.
it's definitely keeping that mindset of being able to expand your skills and to be able to focus on other things, not just zero in on this one career, to be open for sure.
Yeah, and to know that your career is self-directed. Like you're empowered to take it in a direction if you want it to. So like if you want to transition from art direction to set design, or you want to pick up graphic design, you want to become a production designer, all of that is your choice whenever you want. You just gotta do take the steps and pursue it and have faith that you can do it because you can.
Well, thank you, Ray. I really appreciate the conversation, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the work that you and the team have done on Lincoln Lawyer.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all you're doing. I really wish I had all of these videos that you're creating when I was younger. So I'm so happy that you're doing this, and the next generation will have so much more info.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.